It's disconcerting that CNN was aware that I would be arrested before my lawyers were informed. So that's disturbing. If it was a dangerous situation, which would merit the SWAT team, well, then CNN's cameraman would be in danger. I don't know why they would be allowed to be there. I had no firearm in the house. I don't have a permit for a firearm. I don't own a firearm. Only my wife, my 2 dogs, and my 3 cats were at home. I'm not a flight risk. In fact, I think my passport has expired, or it will expire in a few days.
That was Roger Stone here on the show a few minutes ago. There's a lot going on today. He was, of course, arrested this morning, charged with 7 felonies. Now, let's set aside the validity of the charges against Stone, or the validity of the entire Russian collusion narrative. We'll have a lot of time to debate both of those. What does the arrest of Stone itself reveal? So a group of heavily armed agents, very heavily armed agents, look at the tape, stormed his house at the crack of dawn today. Far from being a safety measure, doing that radically increased the risk that something would go wrong during the arrest and get someone hurt or even killed. It's happened a lot. Stone himself said it best. If they wanted to arrest him, they could have just asked.
This morning, at the crack of dawn, 29 FBI agents arrived at my home with 17 vehicles with their lights flashing when they could simply have contacted my attorneys, and I would have been more than willing to surrender voluntarily.
So why did federal agents do that? A bunch of them must have been embarrassed that they had to do it, but they were forced to by their superiors. Why? Well, one reason might be to look impressive for the cameras, and very conveniently, a CNN team was on hand to capture the entire supposedly secret raid.
Exclusive footage you're looking at right now from CNN as the FBI arrives at Roger Stone's residence in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, taking him into custody. They arrived before dawn there, before 6 a.m. or just after 6 a.m. A dozen officers were told. The
FBI, open the door.
So the second this happened, across the country, people watching collectively had the same thought. Why was CNN there? Is there some kind of, well, we'll use the word collusion between that network, very strongly pro-Mueller network, and the Mueller investigation? Did they know ahead of time? Well, today a CNN producer explained why he was outside Roger Stone's house in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, before 6 this morning.
What's so fascinating is that we've talked to his attorney. The attorney didn't know this was coming. Clearly, Roger Stone didn't know this was coming. You were staked out at his house. You didn't know that this was coming. Why were you there in position?
Allison, it's a reporter's instinct. The whole Russia team thought maybe something was happening. There was some unusual grand jury activity in Washington, D.C. yesterday. The grand jury, Robert Mueller's grand jury, typically meets on Fridays. Yesterday, a Thursday, there was grand jury activity. We also had some other signs that maybe something was going on this angle, the Roger Stone angle. So we showed up at his house this morning. We were the only ones there. And lo and behold, the FBI agents did come and arrest him. I'll make...
So is that true? Well, it might be true. You know, you want to take people at their word. And another reporter was predicting a Friday indictment last night. So it's possibly true. It's also possible this is the latest sign of what has become a deeply cooperative relationship between America's 2 establishments, the Washington bureaucracy and the press, who are supposed to be covering them. CNN was also the first news organization to know about the Mueller team's first indictments against Paul Manafort and Rick Gates. Maybe that was just a reporter's hunch, too. Who knows? Dan Bongino is a former Secret Service agent, author of the book Spygate, the attempted sabotage of Donald J. Trump, and he joins us tonight. Dan, thanks very much for coming on. And I just want to reiterate, I mean, we're not holding anything back. Everything that we know for sure we have said out loud. Maybe you know something I don't know. But it does seem like the press in an earlier age was deeply skeptical of what prosecutors might allege. It's not proven. It's one side of the story. Not so skeptical anymore.
Yeah, you know, that interview you had with Chris Hahn on Tucker was really telling. You brought up a point to him, and he seemed genuinely confused. You brought up this premise that, okay, so we're establishing the fact now with this case with Stone that contact with allegedly unsavory individuals with potentially foreign intelligence ties is a big deal, right? We can all agree, point stipulated, okay? But if that is a big deal, then how is it that the Clinton team that has already admitted that some of their people went out and dealt with foreign intel people in sworn depositions, how is this not a big deal for them too? But the press and the media seems entirely unskeptical about this at all. I mean, look, they were more concerned this morning about the story about how they beat everybody to the punch and made it to Stone's house, other than the basic facts of this case, which don't seem to be applied blind justice to both sides.
What I don't understand is how you could look at that tape that CNN aired this morning. And it's not their fault what Mueller's people did. And I'm supportive of law enforcement, including the FBI, of its agents. But how could you look at that and not say, well, wait a second, you know, maybe this is like, that's like awful, actually. It's awful. Why would no one say that?
No, I'm sorry, and I should have hit on this in the first part. I know that's what you were asking, but there's just so much to get to in this, so my apologies. But, Tucker, I spent 15 years in law enforcement. Pre-dawn raids are not rare, let's be clear. But for a case with this kind of magnitude, with these stipulated characteristics, nonviolent offender, process crime, cooperating, big profile, easily recognizable, almost no flight risk whatsoever. I'm telling you, I get it, liberals, you're going to gaff me off, that's fine. I have never seen anything like this. This was clearly an intimidation tactic. There's no other way around it. This was not a good day for the FBI or Bob Mueller. This is a really bad look.
Liberals shouldn't be defending this crap. They should be horrified. They should be leading the charge against it. Yes.
They used to. What happened?
But they didn't mean it.
Civil liberties are out the window now, Tucker.
Whatever gets you power is what they're for. Dan, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tucker.